While one member of the Misuari group rules out talks with government, another MNLF spokesman, Emmanuel Fontanilla, says they're open to a ceasefire. Attorney Fontanilla now joins us on the line. Good evening, Attorney, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Carmena, and assalamu alaikum to everybody and our brothers and sisters.
Okay, Attorney Fontanilla, let's get one thing straight. Are you speaking with us tonight as a spokesperson for the MNLF in its entirety, or just speaking to us for Chairman Nur Misuari?
As of this time, twice Chairman Misuari called me up at 8:45 in the morning and around 3:30 in the morning, and he congratulated me for our efforts, and he said that I am given full authority to speak for the MNLF. The Reverend Cerveza is our national spokesman. I am the Mindanao spokesman, and we can talk alternatively.
But you can talk alternatively, but it seems like you're not speaking to us with one voice. He's saying he's not...
Yeah.
Let me just finish my question. He's saying that they're not open to talking to government. On the other hand, you're saying that you're open to a ceasefire. So which one is the official statement?
These are not contradictions. These are not contradictions. We have been telling consistently that there could be some negotiations if it would be done through a third party, particularly the OIC or the United Nations. And we are in fact very happy that in one of the reports it was reported that the United Nations may be invited to intercede on the problem. So I think it does not see that we are not actually of course opening negotiation, but it should be with third party. And what our national spokesman was referring to is a bilateral negotiation.
What can a third party, whether it's the United Nations, Indonesia, or the OIC, bring to the table that the government cannot?
In the first place, there should be cessations of hostilities here. There could be no negotiation if fighting is going on. So there should be somebody who would intercede to stop. They said fighting, or otherwise there could be no negotiation.
Are you not willing to make that first move and just stop the ceasefire?
Start
the ceasefire.
I'm sorry, we cannot do that because it is the government who started all these things.
Okay, before we had you on the line, Attorney Fontanilla, we were speaking with DSWD Secretary Dinky Soliman, and throughout that interview we were showing the evacuees who are now at the sports arena. They number to about 4,000 families now, she said. I'm just wondering, what thoughts do you have for these people who have been severely affected by the clashes between your forces and the government's forces?
We are very saddened by these images that we are seeing. But first and foremost, we have to review why these things had happened. There are channels and mechanisms that were brought about by the peace agreement, particularly Tripoli agreement, as well as the final peace agreement. There are rules and engagement on our ceasefire agreement. But if matters that are complained of, like, for example, there is a complaint from the government that there is an unauthorized movement from MNLF, this would be brought to the higher authority of the MNLF, or otherwise it would be brought to the OPAP, so that this matter can be immediately be conveyed to the Moro National Liberation Front. This matter did not happen. There was a unilateral actions from the government, and there was a police actions by arresting the MNLF and even shooting them. So what can the MNLF do? It has only acted in self-defense, and it has really has to defend itself.
Attorney Fontanilla, magandang gabi po.
Yes, magandang gabi po, Tony. Assalamualaikum.
I know you will use that claim that you were, or that the forces of Chairman Nur Misuari were merely there for a peace rally, and
in a caravan.
And obviously the military says the intention was far different from holding just a peace rally. At this point, do you feel that public perception favors the MNLF or actually disbelieves the MNLF?
That is why, Brother Tony, we have been repeating many, many times that there should be an intervention of a third impartial party so that this matter can be traced up. Of course, as to these things that are happening, MNLF is always losing in the propaganda game, considering that almost all media are, of course, either directly or not directly influenced by the government. But nevertheless, then we still believe that the truth will come out, that in this case or in this incident, the MNLF has not done anything except it has just exercised actions that have been there traditionally done by the MNLF since 1996. And we have something more to say. Mrs. Deles would have been portrayed in saying that, of course, they have they themselves wrote the OIC that they are closing or they put closure to the review of the tripartite review. Then we are asking why in the first place close channels? We are not saying that the peace agreement was abrogated by the government, but there is a channel that was closed. And the MNLF is wondering where, of course, the other channel that we will be entering into. And one thing more, it would be very, very sad to mislead our people. The first agreement, and in fact an international agreement, because it is witnessed by 43 at its origin, 43 sovereign countries, was signed by the Philippine government with the MNLF. Why is it that the deal is insisting that this would be, of course, set aside and just be consolidated or converged to the framework agreement as they have written the OIC? So these things are quite very, very sad, and I hope that this matter should be straightened up and be presented to the public as it should be.
Mm. Of course, you're saying that the third-party mediator will help to resolve this crisis. But what exactly do you hope the third-party mediator to say? That the MNLF was within its rights to enter a community or several communities with, a battalion of armed men?
We are not seeing that because in the first place, we are just following what had happened many, many times. There are precedents. At one time in 1996 and thereafter, the chairman has been going around Mindanao with around 3,000 armed escorts. And there was no question that was raised. And at the time, we planned to have a peace rally in Zamboanga. And some people were sent also to escort the chairman for a peace caravan. But all these things, even if it would be admitted without really equivocally admitting the same, it would be said that if there was an error or there was a violation, there are specific mechanisms that is provided in our agreement. And we are just asking why this mechanism was not used. We also would like to forward the fact that this problem is a political question. And why is it that the president or the administration has primarily and fundamentally opted for military solution?
Now, the government has appointed several officials to stand as negotiators. You've got ARMM Governor Mujib Hataman, and also you've got Governor Sapurtan. Are these two men acceptable to the MNLF to negotiate on behalf of the government?
I just would like to say something before these things had happened. This humble representation went to Governor Hataman. Unfortunately, there were some things that were said to me by the governor, and we in fact conveyed to him that the process of the declarations of independence will be carried out on the peaceful manner. But unfortunately, we were not really accommodated and welcomed by the governor in such a very civil manner, because he has castigated the governor, I mean the chairman. And anyway, then even those things are in that situation, we, of course, the chairman or Chairman Misuari called me up this morning twice, in fact, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, and told me that, of course, you can fully talk. You are authorized to talk to anybody, and if you could not decide on your level, you can call me up. So there is a channel that is, of course, open for anybody to talk. And, of course, our national spokesman is correct. The chairman is not willing to talk to anybody. So it is the lawyer that is now authorized to talk. So I hope this would be understood so that this matter can be resolved in its political dimensions rather than it will be solved on military solutions.
So are you saying, Attorney Fontanilla, that you are
Yes,
authorized? You're authorized.
Yes. Absolutely, I am authorized.
You're
Fully
authorized to talk.
To
So
anybody.
are you amenable to talking to Governor Hataman and Governor Tan?
Yes, of course. He can give some message that he wants, and this would be considered by the Central Committee. And of course, we maintain our condition that there must be an international party that would be interceding on this problem, the UN or the OIC, as the case may be. And I hope that this matter could be resolved as early as it should be.
And also on a side note, you've got the Davao, is it mayor now or vice mayor? I'm a little bit confused. Rodrigo Duterte saying that he's spoken to Chairman Nur and that he's actually even offered Chairman Nur to come over to Davao. He's welcome to raise the flag there, as long as it's not as high as the Philippine flag. Are you taking any of those offers seriously?
We are here in General Santos City. Any emissary, any negotiator, anybody who wants to talk to this humble representation, then we welcome any move from the other side.
Okay, so what the invitation from Mr. Duterte is not something that you're, seriously considering right now?
No, of course, we are happy with the pronouncement of Mayor Duterte. And if he offers his office as a venue or a forum for negotiations, we really welcome that.
All right.
Yes, Attorney Fontanilla, can this happen simultaneously, or are you even saying that until and unless there's that third party, whether it's the OIC or the United Nations, that'll come in, that until and unless that happens, that you're not going to pull out of the areas where you're in right now?
I think that is not a subject for any negotiation now. The idea of pulling out, I think that is out of question. We would present a certain dynamics. The first thing is that if a negotiator would approach Attorney Fontanilla, then definitely this matter would be discussed, and later on we would place on the table our suggestion that there should be a third party, particularly OIC or the United Nations, and thereafter there would be continued discussions on the matter until such time that we would be meeting in one convergent idea.
All right, the final question for me, Attorney Fontanilla, I think the Department of Justice may have already begun initial steps by appointing prosecutors to study whether charges could be filed against Chairman Nur and the commanders, the MNLF commanders who are occupying those barangays. What do you say about that?
It would be unfortunate when people are talking and we are filing this matter. In the first place, there would be questions of impartiality because these two parties are involved in conflict resolutions, and there is a third party mediating this problem, and you would be healing one party to your own court accusing one party to your own court and decide his guilt or innocence in your own court. I think this would be somewhat very, very difficult. But nevertheless, in good faith, this matter could, of course, be held in abeyance until such time that people would be having a place or room for negotiation.
All right. Attorney Fontanilla, of course, everyone is hoping that this will come out with a peaceful resolution. So we are looking forward to you and the negotiators coming to some kind of initial modus vivendi. In the meantime, thank you very much.
Yes, if we shift paradigm here, excuse me,
Yes.
if we shift paradigm here, shifting shifting military actions to political actions, I think will be solving the problem.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Attorney Fontanilla, good evening to you, and thank you very much for speaking with us.